Happy New Year! It's Pat Sloan here. It is the 1st of January 2022. We made it! I always feel like that on January, particularly the last 2 Januaries. But okay, we are going to kick off for our first day of the Secret Lives of Color. This is a book that I discovered and thought it would be super fun to do a block, a shoe fly block for each of the colors in the book. There's 75 colors. The beginning, let me just give you a little layout of how I'm going to approach this. The beginning of the book, which is, about that much of it, is a sort of background on color, and it's very interesting. Some of it's very technical. I glazed over a bit on that one. Shh, don't tell anybody. But then it gets to the actual color sections. And then I'll call, so they could be color chapters, however you want to think of it. They all start with a page that is kind of a ombre of the color. And in the front of the book, here are all the colors and they're listed. So there you can see all 75 of the colors. And each color has a history of it, a background, a interesting fact, and that is what the author Cassie St. Clair did for many, many years when she was wrote for a magazine. She may still do that, and this book is sort of her research on color and what makes colors interesting to her, and I find it fascinating. A lot of it's very old history. And then she'll sort of bring it along then in the story to something current day at times. Each section, chapter by the color, like the first one starts out white. And so when you start out with white, she has an overview. And then there's the colors. And they're sort of shaded of what the shade is. But the edges of the papers are also shaded. See that? There you can see them all. So each edge, when you go, will give you a different coloration. And that's what I'm using this part to sort of match up what I will do. So I thought, well, let's do this first. Before I show you how I'm going to approach it, let me just show you the 2 layouts that I'll give you. I haven't written them yet, but I have the diagrams. One uses all 75 blocks in all 3 sizes, 3-inch blocks, 6-inch blocks, and 9-inch blocks. One block per story. So this is the quilt. I just love it. I am so excited. So that I would do the first color, like today, I would make 1 block and I would make it either 3, 6, or 9 inches, whichever place I want it, whatever size I feel like today. I haven't decided yet, but I think I'm going to do the 6-inch block today. And then when I do the layout, I'll show you how to break these up. They're just in units that are rotated. And then because of the numbering, there are some spacers. There you can see one here every so often that give it sort of this splash. Okay, the other layout will only use 72 blocks because it's very hard to make a symmetrical layout with 75. That isn't odd shape, it's just odd. So I did 72. Here is it. This is what the size of a 9-inch block would be, the bigger block. I will draft this for 6-inch and 3-inch blocks with a little bit of sashing, some small sashing, small cornerstones. Now you could do the last 3 blocks could be a border, so you could do a 3 in the corner of the border and then make 1 extra one. Or you could take the 3 extra blocks and put them on the back of your quilt, or you could just not do 3 blocks during the whole thing. And then this layout will work for you. So you will figure that out yourself. And once again, there is a pattern already to do the shoe fly in 3-inch, the 6-inch, and the 9-inch. So there we go. The Papa Bear, the Mama Bear, and the Baby Bear shoe flies. So I'm going to start the whole thing off with the 6-inch one. Okay, so the next thing I did is I thought I think I mentioned this the other day that I'm not going to do all my backgrounds. I'm going to do this layout. Surprise, surprise, the asymmetrical one. And I'm not going to do all the backgrounds in a light or a white. I decided that it would be more fun to always make the dash part, the dash or the shoe fly part rather. The shoe fly part will be the blue part here. That will always be the color of the story, and then the background could change. So like for today, when I do the first story, I might pick a dark background to highlight, particularly, you know, that there are so many that are the same color, and we're going to be shades of white. Now the shades of white they're not minutiae shades of white. So I'm taking quite a big liberty and doing something you know, that feels fun and good for me. You can interpret it the way that works for you. Now I personally have lots of light fabric. Let me just show you here. I have this whole bin, which are kind of all my mostly tonals and some dots, you know, so and they're solids, but there's things that don't have a lot of other pattern in them. And then I have this bin, which has a lot of things with a lot of other pattern on them, and just like here's bees, but then here is this one has like lattice work on it, and here is, you know, it's a this probably should go in another bin, but it's in here. And then I have, seriously, why do I have 3 bins of these light fabrics? This third one is the most fun because it has, I don't need this many. It has all the fun prints, and like there's s'mores. I'll just pull it out because I got to resort this. There's s'mores on, you know, with stick with marshmallows on it. There's a piece of Marilyn Monroe somebody sent me. Woo. Scissors. That's cool. I could use that this week. Maybe I'll use that this week. Okay, I didn't see that one till just now. Okay, so what I have, let me just tell you first. Scatter. So what I have is there's 7 colors in this chapter, and so I pulled fabrics for those 7 colors, and I will put those in the bin that I'm going to empty to keep all this in. So when I start each new color section, because remember they're like this, you know, so when I start each new one, I will go ahead and pull a bunch of fabrics to just get started, and I could change it up, but I'll get started that way. So here's what I did. I'm starting from this side, which I'll tell you about our first story in a second. This side all the way through. Now this one has a lot of other colors on it, and it makes me happy, and I'm happy with that. But like I pulled these scissors, and I might switch this one out to have the scissors. I think I might do that. And then this will just go back in the bin. So this one will keep, and I'll have to put them in order, and I will make the block on the day that goes with it. But now I have what I'm going to work with. And I could change it, but probably won't. I need the companion fabric. The very first one I am going to do on white. So this will be my first block, the 2 pieces. I'll make it up here in a minute and show you. But this is what I'm going to start with. So I know that looks like gray, a bit like gray, but that is actually the first color that we're dealing with, is called lead white. And it has a slightly grayish look on the color strip that she has. Now the story for lead white is starts out way back many years ago in Korea, and about paint pigments. And so this takes you through paint pigments, and also, you know, lead in paint is so not good. We know that now, but it was very good, and even though it killed people way back when, it still was used for a very, very long time. It was actually even used in makeup, which is like, wow. But this is the story that is told today for the book. So I will do 1 6-inch block, and this time I will use the white, but like the second blocks that we do, when I do this second block, I will probably pick a different background color so that I'm going to have a variety. My background colors now, I'm not sure if I'm going to try to control it, where maybe I mean, you could super control it, you know, but it could all be red or something like that, like, or you could have all white. But I don't want that. I want it all mixed up. I want lots of white or light colors because I have all this, but I want to pop in other background colors as well to keep it interesting. When I set this, you know, for this random setting, I haven't decided whether I'm going to keep the colors together, like grouped together, so that as you go across, it's almost like a rainbow effect, you know, like you're going to walk through the colors and they'll be close to each other, or whether I'll save it for quite, you know, save it. I would have to save it till the end of the year if I don't set it as I go, which I don't prefer doing. I prefer to set things as I go. Because by the end of the year, if I have all this stuff to put together, you know, there's usually, I just want it done. That's just how I work. So that is where we are on all of this. I am going to go make my block. Shoe fly blocks take like hardly any time. It's a couple half square triangles and some squares, and you're done. Okay, let's do it. Stay to the end because I want to tell you what I do every year on New Year's Day. The first block of the Secret Lives of Color, lead white. Okay, I'm on my way. You'll be on your way too. I do have to clear out my bin. This is my bin. I have one of these plastic bins which has no lid on it because I dropped it and busted the lid. So I have no lid, and I will empty this out. This is just random stuff that got stuck in here. So I will use this one for the project because it's open and I'll be getting in there all the time. I keep it on the top of the stack, and that just works out perfectly. Okay, there's a few other things that I want to share with you today on the first of the year. For the word of the year, you have done amazing words, heartfelt words, intense words, fun and playful words. I have just been blown away by your words of the year. I have been doing this will be my 17th year, and I don't remember so many people jumping on to do this with me as you have this year. Starting today, which is January 1st, if you have not posted your word in the group yet, then you can post it under mine. So we can get all the main post can go now back to quilting. And so if you want to share your word, there'll be the post is at the featured when you first come to the group. So put it in there. And also remember, my group is public. So that means if you're posting there, the people on your friends list can read it. So be a little bit mindful if you're sharing something sensitive that it is not a private group. So, you know, it's out there for everybody to see. Okay, now from this point on, the word of the year, once a month, I'll feature the word. And I'll tell you a little bit about mine like I did. And now there's so many of you that you can use that as your monthly check-in as well as to how your word is going, what it is that you're doing with it. Yes, so I think that's really exciting. Okay, a couple other things. The charity quilt along for Make-A-Wish. We needed, Fat Quarter Shop needed, you know, it's a donation drive. So the drive was as soon as we get to a certain amount, they would release the supply list. And you did it. So now the supply list is out there for the quilt, which also has like a coloring page. And then there is the supply list for the cross stitch. Oops. So, and they are in color. I just print mine in black and white. So they're both out there now, and the link is below in the description box here and over at my I Love to Make Quilts on the project page for the charity project. Both of those charts are there as well so that you can do that. All right, there's so many things. Like I told you the other day, well, yesterday I think, on the New Year's Eve, is that I'm giving myself grace to not have these huge wrap-ups. I didn't do a wrap-up of 2021. I did do a thing where we talked about the quilts and the projects that we're going to be doing, some of them for 2022. But there are things like I still want to review what I did with scraps. That's on the list to do in January. So January will have things that will be recaps or kickoffs, and it'll just be a little bit different, a little bit, you know, a nice pace, something I can do and work with. One of my things I'd really like to do is just stop time for about 3 days and just clean everything up, but you know, life doesn't work like that, does it? So I'm going to do some cleanup stuff, and I think I'll be taping little snippets as I'm working along so that then I can show you. I did one group of them, and I don't know, it was kind of long, so I'm not sure. I might have to tighten that up so it's not boring. I don't know. So on New Year's Day, there's two things that I have to do. One is a family tradition that has been going on in my family and Greg's family, and that is what we eat on New Year's Day to have good luck. We are grounded in Pennsylvania Dutch country, and you know, grandparents, great-grandparents on both our sides. So it's pork, sauerkraut, and succotash. Of course, you have mashed potatoes, put the sauerkraut on. But that is what we have to have good luck. So I would like to know, leave a comment here at YouTube and tell me what you eat on New Year's Day for good luck, because I know there's lots of traditions out there. And I do have another thing that I do, and I started this myself, I don't even know when, maybe 20, 30 years ago, is that on New Year's Day, I want to do a little bit of everything that I'd like to do the full year. So I will, of course, sew something. I'll do a little cross stitch, do a little crochet because I've kind of got behind on that. I will take a break. I will relax a little bit. I will go for a walk. I will do some yoga. Yes, those are the things I want to bring into my life and be sure that's there most days. And so I will do a little bit of all of those today on New Year's Day. Okay, I have a mail call. This is a great mail call for New Year's Day. It is from Karen in California. She sent me this beautiful card and a lovely note. Plus, she sent a calendar for Greg and I. These are little desk calendars. You pop them up. They're so cute. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This is wonderful, Karen. Mwah. Okay, my friend, we are on to the Secret Lives of Color kickoff for our January 1st, and I can't wait to see your block and see what you do. I will get that layout done in January. It'll be just a little bit in a couple of weeks. So, okay, my friend, I love you. Mwah. Happy New Year. I'll see you online.